This is the first video I've made in a while. I know you're probably thinking, wait a minute, I keep seeing all this crap posted on apologetics, church history, and all this other stuff. Well, if you had watched any of the other videos, that will end. There might be a couple more in the pipe. I basically made all of them in 2 settings. Again, like I've explained in other videos, they're done. And not a bad thing, but I have worked within a frame of apologetics, Christian apologetics, for about 20 years. So it's a little bit hard just to give up. So when people started asking me, hey, what about this church? Hey, what about this apologetics thing? Hey, all of a sudden, without knowing it, toxic productivity, I said, sure, I will do a video series on that, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute. And a couple of the other buddies who, they're gonna have videos in the works, Bryan and Scot. I already filmed one with Scot, helping him pack for the Philippines. But, yes, I don't know, old habits die hard. It's kind of like I've also been in corporate America for over 20 years. So, old habits die hard there too. The American dream. But, not really an apology, but I did tell some people I would finish those. I did a very kind of half-assed job. But like I said, I have spoken exhaustively, and I've written a lot of different books on the topics, because I already noticed on one of them, you know, I got kind of a schoolyard, or not anything wrong with it, but just a little bit of a generic question. Oh, you didn't go into, what about different gods? Okay, I've addressed that in my written work. And again, if I started answering that with another video, it will never end. Speaking of ending, probably tired of looking at me. Turn this around. Oh. All right. I'm actually probably going to publish this one immediately. Oh, look at that sunset. It is Thursday. I think it's August 24th. I am off tomorrow, and I'm off all next week. With that being said, I wanted to just kind of give a little bit of a update. Here, you probably should see me. Is that working? You know, I could just do it like that. All right, anyway, who cares? Again, like I said, I think there's only a couple of more that's set to hit maybe the next couple of days on like how we got the Bible, because that was someone else that asked me that. But again, this nonsense on, well, what about, this is just a Bronze Age myth. Again, it's gut reaction is to want to answer that. Again, apologetics101.org. Apologetics101.org. A little bit of an old school site, but one I put together long ago. Just hit 1 million visitors, ironically. Again, you can get my work on Amazon, but I would be more than happy to send it to you for free. But this channel is going to get back to its purpose, which is escaping the matrix and getting out of this. Honestly, it's kind of to encourage a little bit more of a, and again, talk about old habits dying hard. It's to get back in a habit of, you hear that? That's the water pump. Of kind of slow living. I mean, my goodness. All we do is go like 100 miles an hour, nonstop. And again, with this channel, before I knew it, if I go too close to the pond, that pump's too loud. all of a sudden it was the same thing. It was just like, go, go, go. Okay, let's do apologetics. Let's do this. Let's do this. And I'm like, James, what are you doing? I might still mix in some things with my nephews or millennials just to get a different perspective. But for the most part, it's going to be 1, maybe 2 videos a month. And it's going to be, hey, I just, here's a good example. Let's do real life. I have been selling produce on the side, and it's been selling pretty well. It's definitely going to be, I'm going to have to up the production levels to really make a living of it. But that kind of begs the question, what is making a living? How much money do we have to make? So when I leave corporate life, Lord willing, it'll be less than a year from now. It'll be the good, the bad, the ugly. The 72T thing, I think I can milk out maybe, it might end up being like $1,800 a month. So that'll pay for a decent amount of bills because I don't have that many bills. My wife and I have our house in the quote-unquote city, and health insurance, again, MediShare, we'll see how that goes. But I think that's going to be part of back to the heart of this channel. Scott, within the next 2 weeks, he's supposed to be in the Philippines. I helped him pack. I have a video, I think it's August 31st, that will come out. I did a couple of days ago. And Bryan, his RV is supposed to be delivered this weekend. So praise the Lord. But again, it was kind of just a little bit of a video to say, hey, sorry about the weird, kind of lost track of, they're important subjects, but if you're a mile wide and an inch deep, you kind of lose your purpose. Anyway, and it's not really leaving the matrix per se. I'm more than happy in a different vein to answer those type of questions. But after 20 years, I'm kind of like, hey, there's other people, lots of good information out there on why not these other gods, like the one person asked in one of the comments. And again, it's self-refuting. See, I'm trying to answer it. I'm not going to. But no, I think that's the biggest gist of it. And speaking of that, tomorrow my wife and I head for, I think it's fitting, the desert. Oh, ran an electric fence. We head to the desert, Sedona, Arizona. That's going to be a little bit different too, because right now with my corporate paycheck, I can just say, oh, this is kind of expensive, but yeah, I can pay it. Well, a year from now, if I'm not getting the corporate paycheck, it's going to be a little more challenging. But again, why rinse and repeat your whole life? Scott, leaving a very good job teaching, one of the highest paid in the country, this area. And Bryan staying with his job, but he knows that who knows when your number gets called and all of a sudden you get in the unemployment line, and he's like, look, the way this area is growing, he can't afford to live here without a corporate job, so he's going the RV route. I think all of this is kind of exciting, and even if a person falls on their face, who cares? That makes me think of 2 things. So yes, next week I may actually do a video, and if I do, that's going to be my 1 for the month of September, maybe 2. I'll do, at the most, I'm going to do 2 a month. So, because if not, what happens to this whole be still, James, if you're going to be busy all the time? And that reminds me of an old Zen proverb that I literally, I think it was yesterday, saw, and it was the word ambition. Ambition constantly, James, you're doing this for what purpose? And I want to answer, wait, no, there's no purpose. It's the whole Zen proverb of cutting wood. Well, why are you cutting the wood? Because that's what I do. So you're wanting to like save a lot of wood up and then sell it for a profit and then get a house or something? No, I just cut the wood. For what purpose? To cut the wood. But what is your ambition? What's the purpose to cut the wood? And I think that's part of the fact of, I mean, we're missing the forest for the trees. And that is very hard to detox from. Like me trying to, and then I get into this toxic productivity where I'm going to do videos on this, and I'm going to do apologetics, and I'm going to do this, and it's like, James, chill the F out. To take a moment to just kind of enjoy the sunset, instead of right now me thinking, okay, I'm leaving for Sedona, Arizona tomorrow. I've got my out of office on. I got this done. I got our P&L review done. I went through my mid-year. Oh, we'll talk about that for a second. The old mid-year, all thumbs up. They encouraged me again to go for that next level. Of course, I didn't volunteer. I'm gonna try to quit in like 9 months from now. But I just said, you know what? There's a certain point where you gotta like do work-life balance. And I think I've hit that equilibrium. But then I not made up, but just said, you know what? But in the future, I wanna help, train some of the rest of the team, get them up to speed, get our future VP set up into a good spot, blah, blah, blah. But it would be easy to say, James, they're offering you another promotion that's gonna be even more money. To what end? And again, maybe 5 years from now, if I'm even still doing this channel, you'll see me crawl back with my tail between my legs. And some of these people that offer me this position, I'll be begging for like an entry-level position back. But if that happens, so be it. It reminds me of, what's the Greek philosopher? Dionysius. Basically, long story short, you can Google him. But yeah, he basically was like, forget the societal norms. I'm gonna live in a little cistern, basically almost like a big trash can, or a big barrel. And Alexander the Great even came up because, he would argue with Plato and all these other people. So finally, Alexander the Great happened to be in the city and came up to him and said, what can I do? What can I do for you? You're a great philosopher. You've rejected what everybody else says is the norms of society. And obviously, you've not done this in stupidity. You've done this in wisdom. And he was kind of standing over him in his barrel. And again, Alexander the Great. And he said, well, what you can do for me is step to the side. You're in my sunlight. And again, Alexander the Great was amazed, walked off, and he said, if I was not the king of Greece, I want to be Dionysius. So I think that this whole societal norms where we think we have to do A, B, and C, and you never stop to ask why. Well, you just have to. Who says? Why? Why do I have to, if I get a bigger house, and what else do you want? I want a little Porsche. Okay, let's make it two Porsche. Now, are you happy? Nah, I'm still restless. Okay, what do you want now, Bezos, Elon Musk? Well, I want Bezos. I want a new wife. Get you a new wife. Well, maybe I want another one. Get you another one. Where does it end? And then he's scared to death, Bezos, of dying, so he's doing everything he can to try to prolong his life. And the whole thing, it's like, dude, why does it matter to you? But anyway, more to come. I just wanted to kind of make that small little blurb, and we'll see what happens. But no, it's personally, this is me looking in the mirror, not to be selfish. I need more time out time. And I think that Anthony Mello, who I'd done a video on before, kind of had it right. Sometimes prayers can be the most powerful when they're in silence. Just absolute silence. You and God. And I think that is why I'm going to limit the amount of videos for a while. But I still highly encourage you guys, dude, live life. I mean, and that doesn't mean just go party and max out your credit cards. It means find something holistic. Actually, let me turn back around. If I go too far off in the field, it'll get, I don't want to get ticks and everything else. I could go up the hill here, but that might be more ticks. I'll take a chance. Keep blabbing for a little bit. I'm sure everybody's interested. It's getting darker. But no, I mean, it's not going to be like Scot. You'll see that in a couple of days. He is packing for the Philippines, and he knows it's not going to be a cakewalk. Air conditioning, the things that we get here that we think are great, well, I order it from Walmart.com or Amazon, and it gets here in 2 days for free. I want it quicker. And it just kind of made me think back in the day. It was shut down, but it was an old JCPenney or Sears catalog store. Old sign, it was shut down obviously, but way back in the day, obviously no internet, you ordered something from the catalog, and within maybe a couple of months, it would arrive. Not to your door, to the store that you could then go and pick up. And that was considered pretty fancy. Now, it is never enough. I'm set to start, what is that book called? Something Slow Living. It came out like 2004, and I think we're gonna listen to the Audible version on our way to Sedona. But it was talking about, I think it was like 1986, the Italians in protest. This would be stuff that's good for a video. Stuff like this, you can't really tell, but this plant has about 100 different, maybe not 100, but a lot of different medicinal purposes that a person can use. I mean, it feels like almost like a paper towel. I mean, how much more knowledgeable, or how much better? Same thing with this. Forgot what it's called. Hopefully, over time, I'll learn. But this, again, has all types of different medicinal purposes for. I can't think of them right now because I'm not that good with that type of information anyway, but I want to learn. And that is so much more valuable in some ways than me being able to read a profit and loss sheet to a bunch of executives. Yes, I'm going to make a ton more money. Keep reading that profit and loss sheet. But to what end? So I think that's where Dionysus had it figured out. But anyway, I'm rambling. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, a lot of these videos, to be brutally honest, I told Scott and Bryan, the main audience is us. It's almost like a diary. And if no one but us gets benefit from them, oh, that's awesome, mission accomplished. That's all that we're hoping for. Plan for the worst, hope for the best. And so yeah, I think I've rambled enough. But off to the desert. And we've got I don't know, I think it'll be good. I think that, you know, there's no real accidents. I think it's also interesting that one of the Francis of Assisi retreats, last time I was in Sedona, I had just began my postulancy, whatever it's called, with the Third Order. And as of September or October, depending, I technically, I mean, unless they disagree, should be up to getting professed, which is basically completed and accepted into the order. Again, who cares? Point being, Francis, I say Francis, I don't say Saint Francis. Again, tomato, tomato, but like I said, not to go off on another tangent, but why I'm a Protestant. Francis of Assisi, which we had the privilege of going to in 2011. And again, we didn't go there because of Francis. We just happened to, it was part of the tour. But very much like, I keep saying Dionysius. I'm mispronouncing his name, but Diogenes. I don't know why I have trouble pronouncing that. Diogenes. Very similar, except Francis obviously doing it from a Christian perspective, saying forget what the world's telling you. Live simply, live completely, be an outcast. Who cares what society thinks? So we'll see what happens. But all this to say, the random videos are done. Hopefully we can be of some help, whether it be Scot in the Philippines, as a 56, sorry. If somebody's interested in like that expat type thing, or if you're like, no, I like where Bryan's going, this RV thing, I'm not gonna check out. Or if you're saying, James, tell me more about this off-the-grid thing. How do you do it? How are you getting started? What if this? What if that? Well, I mean, hopefully we can help. We're definitely not experts, as we're kind of winging it at this point. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So anyway, peace out.